Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Plasma and I like arrows. Subscribe! Subscribe! So I got bored and I started playing with arrows, and I figured I would go ahead and teach you some things that you can do with arrows simply from what I've been playing around with in the past few days. So first one is probably my favorite. I've got zero gravity arrows, and being able to turn gravity off on an arrow will cause you to be able to throw an arrow so that it has no gravity to it. No gravity at all. It'll just fly perfectly straight every time. And, the wild thing is that the arrows actually slow down over time, and so what will happen is they will actually come to a stop eventually, which is really trippy. I enjoy this. Part of the reason I enjoy this trick so much is it's open for exploitation, because if you can get an arrow to sit in midair, you can start to try and fiddle with it and see if you can get it to do interesting things. I feel like there's a lot of potential with this one, I feel. And so that's pretty cool. Here's how you do it. All you have to do is set no gravity to 1 in the NBT. It's pretty simple. So next one, dancing arrows. So this is kind of a weird quirk. So what happens is when you have the inGround set to something invalid, so it doesn't have a B on the end, it actually keeps trying to fix it for some reason. And so if I actually were to do this, you'll see that you've got harmless dancing arrows now, and they just dance. And what's cool is I could go to survival, and they're completely harmless. They wouldn't hurt a fly. They're my friends now. So if you're ever needing a friend, you're feeling lonely, just have some dancing arrows to play with. You can put on some music and dance. So, strange as those are, you can also cause them to kind of buzz, doing the same thing, only setting it to a valid state. So right here, I can't open this command. Oh, I'm on survival. inGround is 0B, and so that actually causes them to face down and be angry. And it causes an anti-stick, so if I turn that on, when they hit a wall, they don't want to stick in the wall. So if I hit something, boop, and they just drop. It's kind of weird. Don't know how useful these two are, but the other ones are more fun. That's really interesting. So this one I enjoy. The quirk with this is that it won't go downward, and so you have to manually put in a teleport downward a little bit, but by using facing in the execute command, you can actually cause an arrow that spins. Those are hilarious. You can also cause them to spin the other way. You can spin hanging down. Those are lovely. So, bomb arrows. This is a really popular one. Now, what's really important with these is that you can summon a TNT, but you really need to kill the arrow as soon as you do it. So if I flick this, all those are going to explode. So if I go kill at E, here goes arrow. Oops. There we go. Now there's no arrows lying around. So I'll turn this on. And now we have a very dangerous weapon. That's really cool. Definitely recommend these two. The commands are going to be to summon TNT whenever it's inGround, and then chain that to another one so that afterward. So it's important because what's happening is we don't want these. If you pop these commands, they would delete, nothing would happen. And so because these are two command blocks next to each other, that TNT is going to run first, and then it's going to kill the one that's in the ground. And so the next one is a fun one. It's the teleport arrows. And so teleport arrows will simply cause you to go wherever the arrow goes. So if I fire one up into the air, I will go wherever it goes. They're a little glitchy. You can kind of fly with them too. I mean, I'm not creative, but so you can fly by arrow. Isn't that crazy? So, yeah, neat, right? Let me get rid of any extraneous arrows. So the next ones are musical arrows. And so you can actually make a sound effect play when an arrow hits a target or hits something. Instead of making an arrow collision sound, make them make a different sound. All you have to do is specify that in the NBT on arrows. So if you want to change the sound the arrows make, all you have to do is do this sound event. And what I recommend doing is that you use the play sound to experiment. So I think I, back here, I played with doing different sound effects. You could do that sound if you wanted. Just copy block.note block.iron xylophone and put it in here in the sound event, and that'll do it. And so all we're doing is we're merging that NBT in. So the same kind of trick. So the next one is amethysts. This one is one of my favorites, and it's actually two different clever tricks that I came up with. One of them is to play a sound as it's going if it hasn't been in the ground, and you can play a sound over and over, and so it'll make a sparkling sound. And the other one is to do this particle command right here, and we can use the amethysts for it. So now I have amethyst arrows. Isn't this pretty? They move and do damage just like a regular arrow, but now your arrows are pretty. And you can do any block with those, and any sound effect. And so that's these two commands. There's the particle, and there's the sound. And so now let's talk about damage. So these two allow you, if you set the damage value in the NBT to 0 or to something really big, you can cause something that's completely harmless. So if I summon a chicken, we'll hit him really hard. Doesn't do any damage. It's like a snowball. It's no damage at all. Sit still. See? But you can also set it to a big number, like this. I set it to 1,000. Now they are incredibly lethal. If I can aim. And so just to give you an idea of how lethal they are. Boop. There's a wither. Ah, what are we going to do? It's gone. And so, very powerful. So, this is a totally different trick from traditional arrow goofery. I call this the Damacles arrows. And so, what happens? Nothing at first, it seems. But see, if I... Wait a second. There are arrows falling. And now what are they doing? They're chasing me. And so, like a sword of Damocles hanging over you, you have to keep moving or it's going to come for you. If you're not careful, it will kill you. So this would be fun for a challenge, some kind of map challenge. You could do this where if somebody sits still for too long, they will die. And so I have about 5 seconds before I gotta book it. I'm on creative, of course, but... And you can also, if you don't kill the arrows with a top block like this one is, it'll kind of paint as it goes, which is kind of fun. And so those are neat. I could set them to pick up or something like that, but you could sit and doodle with it. So if I were to turn this one off, I could cause it to just paint wherever I went. The final one is the mob spawning. And see, I just turned all those arrows into cats. So let's get rid of those. Sorry, kitties, but not really. So now, anytime I shoot, I'm probably going to put this in the thumbnail, but you can combine these if you're careful. I'd be careful with zero gravity and teleport and things that are very dependent like that, because you can get bad combinations. But I'm going to make amethyst singing cat arrows. I play the cat arrow, amethyst arrow. I play... What music instrument do you play? Alright, that's all I got for today. Those are kind of fun. See if you can play with some of them. I'm going to put all those commands in the description, so you'll be able to go through them at your leisure. Pick out some of the ones that are fun to play with. Be careful with killing arrows. Make sure you have these blocks configured correctly on top. You would rather want, like this one, you would rather want to do this correctly and have the idea not work than to have that not work. So for example, if we were placing TNT at every arrow that's in the ground and it wasn't destroying it, it would just place TNT repeatedly, and that could have really disastrous consequences. And you can end up with infinity cats too if you didn't have this. And so you gotta be careful with that. So that's all I got. Have a good rest of your day. Subscribe if you haven't. Subscribe. Subscribe.